Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hot Off the Press. I'm Randy Rohde. I appreciate you guys jumping on with me today. And hey, Happy New Year, right? Wow. 2025. How incredible. Yeah, so I hope everybody had a terrific new year and safe and all of that fun stuff. Got a great show today. A couple of great dear friends, Terry and Elisabeth Samuels, will be joining us here shortly, I think, just working through some technical kinds of things with that. But we'll get them on. I've got some good thoughts, I think, in regards to some questions and topic conversations that I'll want to cover. So we'll fly through some of those. And as I always ask and say, hey, please like, subscribe, and follow on whatever platform you're watching us on today. And also, if you have any questions or anything, any comments, hey, go ahead, load them up into the chat message side, and we'll get to them definitely. Hey, Pamela, thanks for joining. Happy New Year to you. Hopefully, you had just a wonderful, fabulous New Year out there on the West Coast. Looking forward to hearing from you this year, as always. Let's see. So I've got, looks like I've got Elisabeth. I'm going to bring Elisabeth Samuels. Here she is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And
I don't
everyone
know
here
where the.
and see me. We've had technical problems over here at Team Samuels.
Hey, but there's Terry right there. Yeah, now he leaves though. So
Now he's gonna go shut his door because our offices are closed and it echoes really bad.
got it. Good
There we go.
morning, Terry.
Good morning.
Chinese fire drill this morning.
Dude, I like you got the camera working.
I did. Yep. I don't know what's going on with my cam. I usually don't have this problem at all. So.
I don't know. You're not the first. I've had it with a couple of people. With guests for some reason. So just so the listeners know, so I use a platform called Wave.video for our live streaming, and I use it for a lot of different purposes. It was one of the reasons why I use Wave, because it's also a great video recording platform. So all of my videos that I record, I do in Wave. It's I don't know, so it's just nice. And so I kind of like the idea that it's a all encompassing both streaming platform and video platform, video creation platform. But it has created issues with some folks for some reason in regards to, like, Terry always has an issue getting his camera to work on Wave for some reason, and other folks have had issues getting their background screens changed in Wave for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is a high-end camera, so I was like, okay, I'll never have problems connecting again because I just spent all this money on this camera.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, are you using hey Nigel, are you using a like a DSLR camera and then
No, it's just
Lumina?
a
Okay.
higher end Lumina camera.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have I didn't want a big camera on my desk, so
Yeah.
but I do have one in the closet that I bought Holly Stark's podcast system.
Yeah.
And so we have all that in the closet. We just don't have a current way to set it all up.
Well, and especially if anybody is actually thinking about doing live streaming, kicking off the new year, right? And that's one of your goals, is to start doing your own podcast or live stream or something like that. I have so and a very quick, I won't give huge background on this, but for many years, coming as soon as the pandemic hit, so like that April of 20, I launched an audio only podcast called Running the Bases with Small Businesses. I was doing that primarily for my SEO clients because I wanted to give them some additional kind of brand authority and all of that. Podcasts are great for so many different reasons, but building brand and getting links, fabulous. And then I was encouraged to move to doing a live stream platform. Craig Campbell's like, dude, you got to shift from that audio and go onto YouTube, do live stream.
That's all Craig does nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't think he
so,
actually works except for goes into a studio every day.
Yeah. But I had all of this great podcast equipment. Like I have the Rodecaster Pro board, all of the stuff that you bought from Holly.
Mm-hmm.
I told Holly, this is what you should go buy, because she was like going to start doing the podcast. I'm like, this is what you should buy. So like these great mics, the Rodecaster board, all of the fun stuff. And so then I also had a nice DSLR camera with a Gato connector to go into your computer. And I moved that all into my office then after I stopped doing the audio podcast and doing video only. And so that's what I was using. But now I changed my camera out. I'm using this, what the hell is the name of this thing? That's the 360 camera. It's
the one that moves.
Yeah. It's Insta 360. That's what it's called.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it's the DSLR had a better definition, a higher definition.
Mm-hmm.
But the Insta is like a 1080, and like, I don't know, I think that's probably as good as YouTube is going to throw out there anyway. So
yeah.
But anyway, so long diatribe on audio and podcasting equipment and what have you. But I will say this, so if people are thinking about doing streaming and podcasting, absolutely jump into it, because I'll tap into this a little bit deeper into our conversations today, because I got some great questions I want to hit you up with. But I just think, you have to think beyond SEO. Traditional kind of text only SEO, video streaming, huge, going to be, I think, become even bigger.
We love doing our podcast, and we're going to be more diligent this year. So last year we kind of missed a couple weeks, we forgot to invite somebody. But this year, we started yesterday. This year, every Monday, we're going to it's our goal to hit it every week. So,
yeah.
And then I'm also going to start my, happy hour with Terry and friends.
I love that idea. Yes, you threw that out there. I'm like, yes, let's do that. I think that would be a hoot. I would love the.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. So, but I think we're gonna do that this Thursday. So I'm gonna announce it today. So,
nice. All right.
But yeah, that should be fun.
So you're doing your podcast, your stream. When do you do that? Mondays at what time?
Mondays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time right now until we switch again.
10 a.m. Mountain. What is that? 12 noon Eastern?
It's called Arizona time is what it's called. I don't know everybody else's time zone.
Arizona time. Is it noon or is it 1 o'clock Eastern?
It's noon. We're 2 hours now from East. And then when it switches again, we'll be 3 hours. So,
okay. All right.
Yeah. We have to learn how to do math in Arizona.
I know. I can't. I hope we figure that out. All right. So I got to be sure we go and we hit that. I did see you had a good dude, Travis Weathers, on recently on your show.
Yesterday. Yeah. He's one of our favorite people.
Yeah. Travis is such a quality guy. All right. So Happy New Year to the Samuels.
Happy New Year to you.
Yes. Well, did you have the whole family over, like full on family?
Couple times.
God,
yeah, we do Christmas Eve and then Christmas morning and then Christmas dinner. So the kids that don't have spouses yet, they're you might as well just stay at mom and dad's house for 2 days. Even though they're local.
Yeah, that's good. You know what? You'll love that, I'm sure. I love your.
It was weird having Christmas. It was weird having these holidays on a Wednesday. I will say I never noticed that before, but this year specifically, I'm like, what a weird week, especially Christmas, because it's actually Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yes, I told my family that and they thought I was being Scrooge.
Yeah, not at all.
I'm like, it is such a weird because essentially for 2 weeks, it just seemed like business stopped.
For sure.
And,
Yep.
I don't know, it was
Well,
I
even my insurance guy, we had to get a hold of him for a question, and like he's like nowhere to be found. He's like, I was skiing.
yeah, no, I just really seemed like not just, our business slowed down, but it's like everywhere. It just seemed like everybody was gone. Um, yeah, I saw a great post. I think Chris Walker had this on a post like, okay, the 39-day holiday break is over. Now it's time to get back to work.
That's funny. Yeah, but it was really weird this year. Like I said, and I'm sure we've had this every 5 or 6 years. So I don't know the
7
whole
years, whenever
calendar
it
system,
rolls
but
like that. Yeah,
I never noticed it last time like I did
yeah,
this year.
yeah.
So
I didn't like it. I did not
I
like
didn't
it, but
either. So
um, yeah. All right. So, New Year's goals. So I know you and Elizabeth. I love the two of you. You guys like working together. I'm always so impressed. I know you guys always head out somewhere and do an offsite. The two of you talk
mhm.
about your business, talk about your financials, all of that fun stuff. Have you done that and set that up for 2025 already?
We actually haven't, only because we're going to be at Patrick Shannon's Rank Masters event at the end of February.
I'm going as
And
well. I'm going to be
awesome.
there.
It is last year, and we did this last year. So we set our goals in January. Actually, we typically leave. Her birthday's on the 30th of December, so we typically leave that week. This year we had to cancel because Elizabeth got sick at the last minute. But anyways, um, and so last year we did our goals and went to Patrick Shannon's event and came back and redid our goals. So we're like, this time we're just going to wait. We're actually going to stay in Orlando 2 or 3 days later than
Oh,
the
nice.
mastermind. So we're just going to set our goals there before we come back and get all back into this, family stuff again.
Yeah.
So we're being very strategic this year because we fell short last year. But I had some pretty, triple my agency in 1 year is a pretty. That's what do they call it? A hairy goal or whatever.
Yeah, the big, hairy, audacious goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we did breach a lot of the goals that we did have, and then again, my big goal this year is automation. So, I think if you're not automating, you're really, on the back end, and we're looking at different aspects of what we can automate within our agency, and there is so much that I never even realized.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny you say that because that's one of my goals as well. I did last Tuesday. I did live stream just me
Mhm.
solo and kind of walking through goals, and I kind of did a review of my 2024 goals, and then our hits and misses, and then 2025. And that exactly is same with me. Automation is at the top of my list, and looking at how we can implement AI automation really throughout our whole business and even on the personal side, thinking about how can I utilize AI automation in some of the things that I just do on a personal level, right? Just
Mhm.
running Randy Rohde lifestyle. So we'll see.
Yeah, and our clients too. We're,
Yeah.
a year and a half ago, I've always said that we aren't just an SEO company. But this year, I think we're really taking that to the next level. So, we're having conversations with people that we never had conversations like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I think it's necessary because your clients are probably either scared to death of what's coming, or don't have a clue on how to even start getting involved in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
Well,
if you can become that resource, that's
yeah.
huge.
Well, I've seen a lot of people talk about, and there's a lot of like, hey, this is what I'm predicting for 2025 and blah, blah, blah. But I have seen, though, a number of people really kind of go down this route about automation and really saying that, hey, AI and people are familiar with ChatGPT and Claude and what have you, all of these platforms and how they're using it for creating different things.
Mhm.
but 2025 really is going to be, and well, and this is the opinions of several folks, is really will become the ushering in of the usefulness and high productivity gains that we will see with AI through AI automation and agents. And I do think that I think, you know, AI and what we've seen in the chat GPT and all of those kinds of things, perplexity. I love perplexity, by the way. You know, those things have been great for like creating content and helping you create kinds of things. But the true magic of I think, and just some of the things that I've seen, really even in the last couple of months, creating AI agents, where the agents really are the ones, is the device, I shall say, that accomplishes or achieves or execute tasks, so that you get the full automation benefits, and then utilizing AI for various things. And so, like, yeah, I'm excited for what's to come. Gives me an idea, Terry. Maybe I'm going to talk to you about this offline. Actually, I think as we started thinking about something, or you're talking, it made me think of like, I might have an idea that we might be able to do something together with.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Do it.
All right. So, the goals are waiting until what is that? I'm going to this thing. So it's Patrick Shannon's, is it Master?
Yeah, Rank Masters.
Rank Masters. All right.
Yeah, this is Rank Master. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like our mansion masterminds that we do.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
You stay at the same place, and you just, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
And
I'm excited you're going, Randy. This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I am going to be. So I think I've shared this with a few people directly. I'm going to flash this up on the. I'm such a geek about conferences, right? And so I, created for myself. So one of my goals as well is that I wanted to go to some other conferences and not just SEO only type conferences. And so I started building this spreadsheet kind of like back in November, like, okay, what are other conferences that I would want to attend and could go hit? And so, then I just started listing these things, like, what are they? And I don't know why. I've got some of these that the pagination thing kind of screwed around, but yeah. So the Mansion Mastermind, I wanted to come to this thing anyway, just to go grab the link to it. So folks, if you're thinking about wanting to get your agency or get your goals set and think about how to explode your business, Mansion Masterminds or Rank Masters. This is with Patrick Shannon. Really I've only heard nothing but great things from several people who have attended this in the past. I know Terry and Elisabeth, you guys have been there, but I've talked with a number of folks and really convinced me. And as well, I talked with Patrick about it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go in. I'm going all in for it. I'm going to be there.
It's definitely my second favorite conference.
Yeah. First favorite, I'm guessing, would be this bad boy.
Yep, that's the bad boy. Yeah, and it's and we're really on the track to launch these next couple of weeks, because we've, when you do these things, you can really come out of the gate strong. But if you come out of the gate 10 months early, a lot of people aren't in that space. A lot of people, even getting speakers and asking speakers, a lot of people don't make plans that far in advance. So we're really excited about ramping this thing up the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I've been talking about. Look, it's on my sheet. Here I am, SEO spring training. Right, boom. By the way, if anybody wants my kind of conference spreadsheet, I'll send you the link. Just hit me up for it. But yeah, there's. I'm excited for it.
I was kind of bummed when traffic and conversions canceled, because we were.
Oh my gosh, you and me both, because I was planning to go to it.
Yeah, we all had VIP tickets that we bought last year, when we were all there, and and they I guess they combined it now with Affiliate Summit.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're doing the Affiliate Summit West. So I'm going to that one.
I actually heard they lost money last year, traffic and conversions, and I was like, how the hell they had to have a couple thousand people there. You know, how do you, I mean, obviously the venue probably cost a fortune, but I don't know. I just trying to figure out why they would combine it, because they're two separate things. You know, I mean, you can combine them, you know, at some point.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to go to the Affiliate Summit West. So I had decided that I was going to this and I bought this ticket. And then when they canceled traffic and conversions, they're like, hey, you can use, this to come to one of our affiliate summit. I'm like, well, all right. So now I might go to the one in New York, depending upon how the one out west goes. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so here are the other ones that I've got kind of plugged out maybe for the I'm deciding. So the guys over in the UK are doing a conference called the Masterminders, just a short kind of 2-day kind of thing. But so I'm going to go there. I'm doing the thing where I'm bringing the whole family though out to London, and we'll spend I don't know, probably 10 days I think over there and go scout around.
That's the only way to do overseas.
Yeah.
I don't know how these people do the 3 or 4 days fly back for 18 hours.
Oh, I don't either. And then I've got some of these other ones I haven't decided yet. I'm thinking, maybe I might think about going to the World of Search, William Jones. I'm hoping maybe I would be asked to speak. If I could do that, then maybe I'll get over to that one. I am going to Chiang Mai this year, though, as well. Finally going to make my journey over there. Yeah, got a ticket for that, so I'm excited about that. Not sure if I'll make Rockstars, so kind of depends.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen with the Rockstars, truthfully. So, I'm not sure. So I'm sure it'll be. We haven't heard any rumblings yet. Usually we hear some rumblings, but I know Clint's not involved with it anymore. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go over.
I'm not putting anything out there. That's not our.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go over to Thailand. I'm going to go to the Philippines, meet with my staff that I have over there first, and then go over to Chiang Mai. So I think I'm going to be over there for almost 2 weeks.
Right on.
So that's why I'm not sure that I'm going to go. And then there's another one that I would love to go to, but I highly doubt, because it's also in November, but it's this MB Summit over in Milan, Italy. But
just stay there the whole month. Come back for.
I know, right? Yeah, my wife would love that. My wife would just love if I was just gone for a whole month. Yeah.
No, bring her European vacation. What happened the last time you came back from Europe?
Yeah, well, here's the challenge. I still have a daughter in high school, and she'll be a senior come November, and so that doesn't work real well with both parents heading out the door. But so I put the link to Mansion Mastermind in the chat. Folks want to go check that out. Could be cool. And let's drop this as well. Spring training into the chat as well. So folks can go check out spring training. Now I'm going to toot my horn a little bit. I'm excited. I'm signed up. I'm going to be another sponsor again for spring training this year. So,
and I still haven't completed the speaker list yet. We added Nathan Gotch. So Nathan Gotch is going to be there. And then Eldar hopefully confirmed. I think he confirmed. Eldar in Israel and everything is always big question mark. But I mean, there's a few spots left that we're specifically waiting. But yeah, it's going to be great. So,
well, I'll throw it out if you need somebody to do a workshop. Kind of, I would,
Yeah, and actually, that's one of the reasons why I'm holding back, because I'm really spending a lot of time this time on the workshops, on the breakout rooms, because we're going to have one for AI and one for automation. It's kind of funny. I'm really not going to do too much SEO stuff. So just because I think that people that are, we are going to have some, breakout rooms for SEO, but it's not going to be like a whole bunch of SEO on the stage and you can go to you can go learn off. I'm not going to have an off page room. It's just, first of all, I'm not that big of a believer in it today as I was a couple years ago. And I do think it's important, but I don't think it's important enough to have 4 people speaking about it. So it's just, I'm really strategically, Brian, Cato, and Clint, and Chad are helping me just kind of fine tune this thing. And then of course the tech mastermind, that's everybody's favorite. It's the tech.
Yeah. Well, this is a good kind of migration into one of the questions I wanted to hit you up with, which is your thoughts, because I've seen a number of posts, right? So the New Year's people throw out all of this stuff all over the place. Yeah. SEO, future of SEO in 2025. What are your thoughts?
I think it's going to be exactly the same way as 24. I think it's too early to say. It's especially around local. Local's not going to change much. If somebody's looking for a plumber, they're going to find a plumber. They're not going to find that through Google's AI results. If they do, then they're probably not going to find the right plumber, so to speak. But I do think content is the name of the game now. And I also think you need to be writing content for AI. So, what's wrong with having your content scraped and have the little pay-per-click in that Google search? So we've been spending a lot of time, especially in my class, about, just writing differently now. Obviously, we want to write for queries and people also ask, and the same stuff that we've been preaching about forever. But I think now you need to be a little bit more in detail of what you're trying to explain and how you're explaining it. We're finding super big hits on FAQs. We put FAQs on every freaking page now. And we have a trust box about, the business, the author, whatever. But I do think that Google is really trying hard through EAT and everything that they've been doing with the content updates. And I do think they're really trying to make sure they put the right people in the right spot to get the right results. And we've always known that Google crawls a page. So if you're crawling a page and you don't talk about the company, then Google might miss that, especially in the crawl problems that we're having now. Right. If Google just hits a couple recent blog posts and then leaves, do they really know that this is Salterra and Terry and Elisabeth and all this stuff, or do they just ignore it? So we're just throwing it right there in their effing face. Here it is. If you're only going to crawl 5 pages, you're going to get everything about not only the content, but the company and all the entities and everything that we've always done. And then obviously top it off a schema.
I love your thought in regards to content because, it is something that I've been thinking about for a while, actually, especially as the advent over the last several months of the rise of AI search, is, how do you write content that can be picked up in, the AI search offering? And your point about FAQs, I'm completely on board and signed up onto that track because it gives you the opportunity to deliver or write content that is more user intent or search intent focused rather than keyword focused, right? So it's thinking about what are the questions that a user is potentially throwing up into the search itself, right? And specifically into the AI search. And doing FAQs just allows you to how do I boom? What is the number of, right? And so you can really answer all of those kinds of relative questions to the content that you're writing. And I think it gives you a much greater opportunity to show up in the generated AI search results.
Well, I think it's just like, I think it's a little bit more intensive than voice search. But when voice search came out, we were all trying to figure out, okay, what is the result? So we'd have a phone, we'd have a laptop, we'd have a desktop, and we'd do a voice search and see what the results were with the 3 different machines.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same way now. I mean, I'm spending a lot of time figuring out, okay, where did Google get this answer? They put the little paperclip there, and I can click that paperclip, and it'll bring up another aisle over here, and I can actually go to the page that they crawled that from. And it's interesting because at least what I'm seeing, they're not pulling everything in that one little paragraph of that AI result isn't coming from that one site. It's coming from 3. So it's pulling little things from each one. And so you're like, okay, so, what is the intent of this coming up here? What is Google's intent here? Is Google's intent to answer the question and the user leave and never come back again? I'm done. I don't need to know anymore. Or is it to continue the search, continue the click type of thing? Everybody is so caught up on zero click right now, which I agree, zero click is super important. Obviously I master schema. That's zero click. That's that whole intent. But I think the biggest thing is I think with AI that the searches are going to get more intense. And I think with having FAQ there, how many people go to a page and they're still not fully satisfied with the answer because they read it. I still got questions. Right. Well, if you include those questions on those pages, then they don't ever have to leave that page.
Right.
So you're hoping that now it becomes a converting tool. And for conversions, FAQs is a great conversion. But I think with just paying attention to what result comes up with the AI search is, and spend some time on it, spend a half an hour a day, because it changes constantly.
Yeah.
Google's changing this thing all the freaking time. And so, and I'll even go over, I don't have many clients overseas anymore, but I'll go overseas and see what different results they're showing up in Australia. Because Australia, UK, and America are 3 completely different Googles. So it's interesting to see what they can get away with in the UK, which they have Google's under very strict guidelines in the UK. Right. Google's the wild, wild west in America. So where is the difference here?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's exciting, but I think it's also going to be business as usual. If you're in local, you got to pay attention to maps. You got to pay attention to brand. It's all about brand. I've been about brand for years. And a lot of people are finally starting to realize that if you got a powerful brand, it really shields you from a lot of stuff. Even negative stuff. So could I get hired to do some reputation management stuff? And it's tough when the company's only a year old. They don't have any trust. They don't have any authority. So but anyway, that's what I see. Elisabeth, on the design side, I think the design side is going to probably change a little bit more than the SEO side.
What do you think about that on the design side, Elisabeth?
Well, what do you think? What do you mean? I'm interested in your perspective. If you have your finger on the pulse of design,
I'm just saying that nowadays, people are coming out. You can build a whole website, with AI. We also are doing some crawl tests. That a lot of these sites don't get crawled properly. So, but I do think that if somebody needs images, if somebody needs a logo, if somebody needs there's still going to be room for a designer and a developer, especially the developer side. But I think where people are going for is like go high level. Everybody's on this high level bandwagon to build these high level websites, and I'm sorry, they don't rank. You can't do what you need to do within that type of system. And a lot of people are jumping on board because it's the easy button.
Are they using those though as to create like landing pages?
I've actually had people send me projects that were built with high level to rank them. A plumbing company, all built. The whole plumbing company is built on high level. And what?
So based on your perspective, let me address that. I can definitely see the value in AI websites for like an internal network and some of the other SEO strategies that we utilize, because I think it's brilliant and I think it's fast, easy, and more scalable than manually building a site. So valid, yes. But when you're talking about images for a website and there's still a gap between getting it right. And I say that because they're cute, they're fun, they have a specific aesthetic, but they're not real, and people can tell. Like you can tell, and you're not, you're not a graphic designer.
Right.
So I'm sure a lot of us in that graphic space and photography space are cringing when we see some of these images, because like a layperson to be like, oh my gosh, this is great. And I'm like, okay, well, how many fingers does she have? Right? Like, let's really refine this.
Well, that's got to be in your prompt. Hide the hands.
I feel that the design for prompt engineers is exploding. I feel that to really get good at it, a lot of us are seeing this as a challenge. Like, how can I get it better? How can I refine it? How can I create the best prompt to get the very best results? Because just human nature, let's push the envelope and see where we can go and what we can do. I do feel bad that like it's going to leave a lot of traditional designers in the dust, just because maybe some of them are not willing to pivot. Maybe some of them are not willing to compromise. Interesting story. I have a half sister that was a graphic designer in the 90s, a traditional graphic designer. She completely got out of the industry and out of the business because now at that time, everybody could go online and make it faster, cheaper, quicker, easier. So she has nothing to do with a graphic design business, even though that's what her degree was in. And so I see in society that like there are people that are going to step away. They're going to go away. There's a new group of people that are going to jump in and be like, "Hey, I can prompt this." And I know I said at a presentation a couple of years ago when the very first image won an award at an art show. And looking back at it, this guy spent 300 hours redesigning the prompts to get the image that won the award. And so that right there is a lot of dedication, tenacity. I love seeing that in people. I think that right there is what our industry needs, is not everybody looking to take a shortcut, but people really willing in to dig in, get dirty, do the things, put in the hard work. So,
yeah. Well, I think it'll be interesting, especially so when you're talking on the design side, especially like right now, creating AI generated images is I don't know how long it's been. People have been doing it for a while now, and they're starting to get pretty good at it. And to the point, I think it's even getting more broadly adopted, because I just read an article in the Wall Street Journal, even just talking about you've got Getty and Stock. What is the
Shutterstock?
Shutter? Yeah, like looking to merge. Not necessarily like, hey, this is such a great business idea, but it's because they can't stand alone independently because of the impact of AI images now.
Yep.
People are like just foregoing them, like going, oh, we'll just create our own stuff.
Well, Adobe integrates AI into their stock portfolio. So you can actually, if you have Adobe stock, which I mean, I use Adobe everything, big fan. But you can actually go in and utilize their AI program to create stuff. And, obviously, if you have really good, strong prompts, you can get really great stuff. Vague prompts, you're going to get vague images. It's the same way with anything.
So on the image side and design side, would you see, because this is similar like on the content side, where you would do it kind of a meld between both AI generated and human optimization of it. So would you do that? And do you do this now, Elisabeth? So create essentially the base image in AI and then go back and kind of optimize it with the human touch edits?
Okay, first of all, I don't have that much time in my day to really but I can tell you for my client sites, I don't believe my team has used any AI images. I caution against it, and here's why. Because of the fact that it's a big, huge rise, there's a lot of AI stuff out there. I want my clients to provide me authentic images. I want custom photography of their location. If this is a salon or a med spa, I want pictures inside their room, because when the customer looks at that website and sees those pictures and then they walk in the door and there's a disconnect, then that's going to break the trust. And I'm all about building trust and value for my clients. And like,
it's branding. It's all about the brand too.
It's branding. It is. But that authenticity, because of the fact that there's a big rise in AI, people are craving authenticity. Who really are you? If I walk in the door and that disconnect, whether good or bad, like, still, I'm not saying that you walk into a building and it's gross or scary, but I'm saying the disconnect, because whether people say it out loud, there's a second in your mind where you're like, this isn't what I saw. And so I push as much as I can. I'm even willing, for local clients, I'll go out and take pictures, and then I can, pretty them up a little bit on Photoshop if I need to. But I encourage that. The cell phone cameras are so dynamic with their capabilities. I literally had a professional photographer say, my cell phone camera, my brand new iPhone, has better specs on the camera than my DSLR. I'm like, well, but you can't go to a client and have them pay all this money for a professional photographer and use your cell phone.
Use your phone.
You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because that's a big disconnect too. Obviously people are paying for quality, but the average person doesn't always realize your cell phone has those capabilities. So I tell a store owner, you don't have to, I'm sorry, photographers, you don't have to pay a fancy photographer, but I want you to look at this, 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 and this. I want you to pay attention to background. I want you to try to get the biggest, widest shot, so that if I need to crop in a certain area, I have that room and space and the picture's big enough without compromising the integrity and pixelating.
Right. You put together, or you threw out a term that I think is spot on. And I loved actually how you phrased it, because I'm going to adopt it in some of my conversations going forward, actually, which was brand authenticity. I'm a big believer, and I think when you start talking about SEO in 2025 or marketing in 2025, and Terry, you kind of mentioned on this as well about just the importance of brand development. And I really think it is like a bigger, not just brand development, but brand authenticity. And I love that phrase. I think that having that brand built out and being authoritative and authentic is going to be critical, even more going forward than what it ever was even in the past, because I think that AI in the searches is going to look for those authoritative brands and brand voices, and which can be communicated, I think, in a lot of, not just in content, but I think in images, I think in video, I think in social media. So as you develop the authenticity and the authority of the brand, that's where AI will then begin to reference you in AI searches, and where you become, the expert, as what you were saying in the Google Eat. So,
and that's the whole thing is, one of the biggest parts of schema is the stuff that we can do around the brand. And I tell people all the time, if your brand isn't the first couple, 3 queries in your 12-month thing, we've got work to do. So, I'm not talking backlinks. I'm talking about actual queries. If your brand's not in the top 3, we need to focus on the brand. So, and the easiest way to do that is put the brand on every image, on every piece of every title, include the brand everywhere. And let Google understand that this is Salterra. Now there's 3 Salterras. So, I've got to struggle, because 10 years before my business, there's a hotel over in Turks and Caicos or whatever that's called Salterra. And I didn't know that when I picked the name. But so it's a constant fight with them just because of age of name, which I tell people age is still super important.
Right.
But I'm, now I'm gaining ground on them. It's like, and you got to pay attention to personal brand. I've been working on Terry Samuels for a long time, and Terry Samuels is actually a NFL football player for the Atlanta Falcons. So it's like,
There he is.
I just think that if you're not, and like I said, focusing on brand is not something that's going to take a lot of time, money, and effort. It's just including the brand and everything.
Yeah. Hey, Terry, by the way, I've been working on Randy Rohde for a long, long time as well. And my wife is like, would be the first to say, yeah, you're not there yet. So,
yeah. But that's the whole thing I just think people need to switch gears. The whole reason I started my online class is because people need to think about everything differently. It's not like it was even 3 years ago. Dallas plumber is not your number one term you should be going after. Matter of fact, that's a term that you should be secondary focus on.
Yeah.
And I still get people all the time that are still stuck in that 2, 3, 5 year ago mindset, just because that's how they're learning. That's, they're not learning anything new and exciting.
Well, that ties into, not just like your course, but the value of podcasts. Like, he had mentioned that he found a really great podcast, and it was several years ago, and he can tell by the topic. But that also encouraged people that are looking to do more podcasts, jump out there and do it, because as the landscape is changing, as the data is changing, we need people to share that information and knowledge and not just keep it hidden. Because there are people out there that are literally learning how to do SEO from YouTube,
Right.
So
Absolutely.
let's make sure it's accurate information, since we don't have any standards.
Yeah. Well, and I've always been a proponent. I've always told my kids, spend 30 minutes on YouTube and you can learn to do anything.
For sure. It might not be the right way to do it, but you can learn how to do it.
Yeah, you'll learn how to do something anyway. I'm kind of curious because I know, Terry, you as the grandmaster of schema, have you ever played around or done tests on trying to influence the AI generated search solely with schema, using schema to try to build that authority and that brand authority and that content authority, so that AI would pull that and offer that?
That's all we're testing. Yeah, we're not testing page content. We're testing schema content. And mainly because of all the tests we've done, we know they can read it, we know they use it, and we know they rank it. So those three things right there, and it's in the head. It's the first thing they freaking see when they hit the website. So, the new schema templates that I just spent the last 2.5 weeks updating all my schema templates. I haven't done this big of an update in 4 years. So these schema templates now are just crazy good with information, because we've figured out what else we can put inside the schema that Google's looking for. So one of the things we're really taking advantage of is Google's machine IDs. Google did these for a reason. They assign these numbers to each location, each service, each blah, blah, blah for a reason. And it's because Google reads that better. Google understands that better. So, and everything out there has a machine ID almost, and if you get your brand built big enough, you're going to have a machine ID. Nike has a machine ID, all these people. But I think as far as schema goes, that's kind of all we're testing is we're saying, okay, you've got these snippets. Do they have schema on these sites? And right now we're seeing most of them don't. That's why I kind of believe some of the inaccuracies of Google's AI is because they're scraping page content. And just because of how I think Google functions as a crawler, Google doesn't crawl each site the same. Google struggles crawling. There's how many freaking website platforms out there that Google's got to crawl,
Yeah, I know.
And so I really believe that Google's looking for the right things, and we just need to make it better, easier, and faster for them to find for that schema. So But yeah, it's my favorite thing. I'm actually spending most of the day tomorrow doing. Wednesdays are kind of my test day for schema. So, I kind of shut my door, put my music on, and just leave me the hell alone while I go out. And we're spending a lot of time with Bing too, because I actually think Bing is way ahead because of their relationship with ChatGPT. I think Bing is way ahead of Google, especially as far as accuracy. So I don't know if they're going to be able to monetize that as far as advertising, but if you pay attention to the two, Bing's as far as I'm concerned, is head over heels of Google, as far as AI.
Let me ask you just a deeper question here. I'm really getting into the weeds here a minute, which is when you're talking about schema and on website and trying to influence the AI generated search. So when you put a new piece of content up on a site, an article or something like that, are you creating very specific schema for that article in order to, pull it into an AI generated search?
It depends on the idea of the article. And I've always said, not every article gets schema. That's, because it can take you 3 times as long to do the schema than it does to post an article.
Yeah.
So you really,
well, I know that's why I was wondering, like, holy crap, that's a lot of work.
But when we do, especially around clusters, we write a lot. We write a lot of clusters now. Cluster content is one of my favorites. So we'll take one of those pieces of clusters and we'll do a schema on just that one. And because we're tying in all the other clusters in that schema, as far as same as. So, and then we just, if it's a test for AI, it depends on the test. So, like, I'm still in the local world. Google's really bad at local, by the way, and that's why they don't show it most of the time. If you go in there and ask it, what is WordPress? Yeah, you're going to have an AI result. But if you put in there top 10 plumbers in Dallas, if you do have an AI input, it's probably not going to be very accurate, and it's probably going to be heavily biased, on whatever Google does their tracking on or scraping on. But I do think that depending on the article, depending on the test, and depending on the client, then that's how we start figuring stuff out. So I've got one medical spa that I do a lot of testing with because it's a super powerful domain. It's a super powerful site, and we get results pretty quick as far as tests. So, and then again, I have all my other microsites that I test with, but I think it depends on the intent of the article. If you want this article to be something and you want it to do something, then yeah, you need to go the full Monty. Schema, everything. That's why when we do press releases, they start as blog posts. I schema the shit out of my press releases. I put all 1,500 referring domains in my same as. So, and I found that I keep things up there longer. Same things that you and I have talked about. But the biggest thing I think with schema is that test it, and biggest thing that people just don't take the time to test anyways. But I think if you're trying to figure out this AI stuff and where Google's getting this scraped information, because Google's just stealing everybody else's information. That's all it's doing. Google has no original content. So where are they scraping it from? Was it the person in the first position? Sometimes they're scraping people that we've seen down in 7, 8, and 9, just because I think that sentence or two that Google's going to use for that query is better. The answer. But still, I think it's very we're at the elementary stage. I still don't see, Mary that has a overflowing toilet going to Google and getting an AI result. That's hard. That's why in local maps, all the stuff we do in local is not going to change this year.
Yeah. Agreed. Local SEO is still very strong and is still, very open to influence, I guess, from a search standpoint. What do you think about search in the sense of being search on other platforms, meaning like search on ChatGPT or search on Perplexity? Like, I love searching on Perplexity. I think, if I'm looking and I want kind of up to date, kind of current facts or data or whatever, I generally go search on Perplexity. I like the answer and I like the offerings that it does. I am intrigued by ChatGPT search, web search, and how it rolls things out. I'm curious your thoughts on it, and is it going to begin to erode Google search?
I think Google's going to lose market share. There's no doubt about it. And they have been. I mean, if just look at Bing. Bing's been capturing market share every single month for about 2 years now. So, but I think the biggest thing is that, and we have not done any testing yet. With Perplexity is my next test. Because Perplexity is very intriguing. Because I've got clients that are using Perplexity. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I should look at this. But I do think that it is going to erode Google searches. And my biggest thing with AI, again, is if you're looking for something that's quasi emergency, AI is not going to bring it. But if you're looking for one of the scary things now is Google has a commercial on there that you can actually have a relationship now with Google. So you can have a conversation for 3 hours having a glass of wine in your living room with your phone.
I know.
And I'm like, what? So now we're alienating society even more.
Even further.
Even further. And then why is this a good thing? And next thing you know, you're going to have people marrying Google and all this other crap and all this. It's just crazy. But I do think, and I'm still a novice in Perplexity, but I am intrigued by Perplexity because it's starting to get out there more. I think ChatGPT's got the hand on everything right now as far as the pulse. I think they're still the leaders. And I played around a little bit with ChatGPT search, but I still, again, where's the scrape coming from? That's my goal. And once you figure out where the scrape's coming from and you can start capturing some of those scrapes, then I think you're going to, but again, how's that going to affect conversions? I've told people a million times, I'm not a fan of rich snippets for local, mainly because I think it affects negatively on conversions. So, if you're an actor or, whatever, rich snippets are awesome. A news guy, rich snippets are awesome. But if you're a local plumber and you get a rich snippet for, how do you unclog a toilet, you probably affected conversions negatively.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm definitely intrigued with Perplexity. I do want to dig into it because, like I said, I just want to know where they're getting the info from. Nobody has original info. It's all coming from somewhere else.
Yep.
So,
well, all of the answers in the AI generated search is all coming from content that's already out there. So
totally.
it's
all being scraped. Just all these things are giant scrapers.
Yeah. There's nothing new. So, and that, really then kind of pushes you to the thought of, all right, in thinking about the content that you're writing, how can you create new content? What is the new content that you could put out there? And so, because then I think you would probably have greater opportunity to be a bit more successful, which is, if you're writing stuff around trends, or if you're writing guides, or you're out in the news, that stuff is new. It's original content. And I think you'll have a greater success of ranking for that stuff as well.
And Elisabeth touched it. And what we do, we train ChatGPT per client, and there's no guessing. This is who they are. This is who owns it. This is their goals. This is blah, blah, blah. And so now when you're doing your prompting, it gets much easier to fine tune that stuff rather than saying, oh, I'm a successful med spa owner. That's when it just becomes a giant, large language model that's just scraping the internet trying to get you. But I do think I think people need to pay attention to it. There's a local event here. I speak at a lot, and they still have people in there that refuse to use AI content. And I think if you're still in that mindset, you better start testing pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's either that or the content we're providing now has never been better, because we've done it. I mean, I've got medical spas and lawyers that don't even need to read their content anymore. Just don't even send it to me. Just keep it. So when you get to that phase in your content, that's gold. So now I can do a blog real quick on something that I see a keyword drop, and I don't have to wait 2 weeks to get it approved.
Right. To get the content approved. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, listen, the two of you, man, I appreciate you guys jumping on board. I'm going to flip this up as well one more time. Hit it up, SEO spring training. Change the dates a little bit. Now we're kind of SEO spring training, but really in the midst of the season.
Yeah, and actually, because we've always done it the week after Easter. And as the calendar goes, last year we actually just happened to hit the week that 90% of the country was on spring break for their kids. Yep. And so, and we didn't investigate that or anything. And so he's like, all right, let's just shove it out to May. And then also, a lot of us conference people, I communicate a lot with Matt Singer. So Matt's one of my dear friends. He has a great conference in March. And so we wanted to have more separation between the two. Yep. So the one thing that I really try to strive on is making sure that we don't overload people with 20 conferences at once. Yep. So most of us have good communication about, hey, we're thinking about doing ours here. We're thinking about doing ours here. And so, mainly just to give people different options. But this one's the best. There's nothing better.
Yeah, I agree. One of my favorites. SEO spring training, May 1st through May 4th. So the link is right there. Go grab your ticket now. And listen, I'm anxious to see you guys and hear more from you through 2025. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I only wish the greatest success and blessings to you and your family. I'm so excited to see you in February, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. Yeah, that's like I said, it is my favorite non-SEO event. 100%. And just because it's personal to me, because I want to grow. I want to grow the right way. I don't want to grow the wrong way. And these people there, Chris Moore, obviously Patrick and Jeff. These people are there, and I've been telling people this year, especially it started latter end of this year, I want to hang around the people that are at the level I want to be at. I love all my friends, but we've all been at the same level for 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Time to grow. Yes. Time to push on. Well, listen, I'll look forward to seeing you guys. Thanks for being on the show. Absolutely appreciate it. Folks, please like, subscribe, follow. Would appreciate that. And share. Yes, thank you. Let me go find my list. I've got coming up next week. We mentioned Elder. I got Elder coming up next Tuesday on the show. So we'll be talking a bit more about local and all of that fun stuff. And plus, Elder is always great to talk about life and management and business growth and all of that.
I told him he can't speak unless he brings his dog.
Everybody loves Rocky.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, listen, you guys have a great January, and